This conference will now be recorded.
Yeah, the first point before we start the discussion, if you are joining newly, today we are starting for the Salesforce development. Okay, and also you need to understand that the prerequisite for Salesforce development is Salesforce administration. At least you need to know the basics of the Salesforce administration. Without knowing anything, so if you want to continue, you might not be understanding few things. Okay, so anyone, if you are joining and if you don't know the Salesforce administration, you might be not understanding few things. Okay, at least you need to. In my website, there are some demo videos for administration. You need to complete watching those videos and understand what is Salesforce and the basic terminology. Okay. Um, yeah. So the thing is, when we join as a Salesforce developer in the project, it's expected that we also know about the Salesforce administration, some of the basic concepts. So here it's not like since we are a developer, we know the development. Straightforward, we work for requirements using development. Okay, the basic rule when we work with Salesforce, any requirement, first we need to try achieving the requirement with the administration, meaning the out of the box means the standard point and click tools provided by Salesforce. We need to try achieving the requirement using those tools. Say example, validation rules. So we have flows. Okay, so we have many other automation options. First, we need to consider using those, and still, if it is not possible to achieve the requirement, then only we need to go with that development. Okay, so just to understand these things. Okay, so today we will discuss, so as part of the development, so what exactly we need to know to work with the Salesforce platform. Okay, so the most of the common topics what we need to know, mostly let's say if you take 100 projects, 90 projects, right, almost most common things what we need to know. All those things we are going to discuss as part of this training. Okay. Um, First, let me start. So, what exactly high level, right? What topics we need to know in Salesforce, and I'll also tell you from where we start and understand the basics. Okay, and also I'm not expecting any one of you to know the development already. So, example, people are asking, do I need to know Java or .NET or some languages? Even though you don't know, it's fine. We are going to discuss from the basics. Okay, try to follow this training so that you will be good to work with the development. Okay, step by step, you need to practice whatever we are going to discuss so that you will be good with the Salesforce development. Okay, already if you know, some people maybe already you know Java, right, or .NET. So don't try to compare each and everything, whatever we are going to discuss in Salesforce. There are few differences with the syntax, right? The way how we write the program. But when compared to Java, .NET, and Salesforce, we use Apex programming language, which is more simplified. Okay, we'll discuss all those things. So first, as part of the Salesforce. So what are the different areas of development we need to know? So let's understand that, right? So for that, just what I'm going to do, right? So let me log into Salesforce. Maybe if you are very new to get the Salesforce account as a developer, as an administrator, or anyone who want to start with Salesforce for free, no need to pay anything. You can sign up and get the free account where you can log in and practice. Okay, for that you need to go to this website. You need to click on browse trails. Okay, scroll down. This one, Salesforce Developer Edition. You need to click on sign up and register. You will get one email. From that email, you will give the security question and set the password and log in. Right, once you sign up to log in on day-to-day basis, so we need to go to a website called login.salesforce.com. Okay, here you need to enter username and password and login. Okay, so if you don't know, you need to watch those administration, the demo videos. Okay, so now once we log into Salesforce, right? So example, right? Any screen if you take, okay. So now this is a web page, right? So this is one of the screen, right? So here I am seeing recently used items. So how these things are coming, right? This is a web page, right? So I am seeing this information, and if I click on this, even I am seeing more other page with some of the details, right? So now any website you open, so with our eyes, whatever we see on the screen, that we this is a page, this is a web page, right? So technically we call this one as user interface, right? As a user, we are users. Whoever is using this, whoever is opening this page, that person is the user, right? So how we interact with this Salesforce application using this web page, right? Interface means the medium, how we are communicating using this web page. Yeah, technically the web pages what we see, so that part we call as user interface. In the short form, we call as UI, right? UI means user interface, the web page. Okay, so now web page, right? How this web page will be developed, right? Mostly to open this website we use browsers, right? So mostly we use Chrome browser. There are many other browsers, Firefox, right? Maybe we have Microsoft Edge, different browsers we have, right? So any browser you use, when you open this website, you see this web page, right? So browsers can understand this web page, but how to develop this web page? So most of the times browsers understand the most of the web pages will be developed with HTML, right? So when we interact with any website, so whatever we see that we call as UI, right? User interface. Okay, so nothing but web pages, whatever we see. So this user interface, that means the web page, how the web page can be developed. The core thing to develop the web page is using HTML. Okay, HTML means hypertext markup language. Okay, so maybe if you, let's say you also don't know about HTML, right? So if you want that much basics, okay, so I recommend you to go to this website, okay, w3schools.com. And just click on, if you see here we have HTML, and click on introduction and understand, right? So what is the full form? Hypertext markup language, right? So it's a standard markup language for creating the web page, right? So some examples, how the page starts. Okay, these things we call as tag, right? HTML starting tag, HTML ending tag, right? Ending tag should have this slash. So head, body. So I recommend you to go through this one, right? Tag name, so some basics. So if you are maybe non-technical and don't know anything, so please go through this one. Okay, I'm not again starting from all those things. Okay, little bit. I'm assuming that you know the basics at least. What is HTML and those things. Otherwise, prepare here. Okay. So in general, what I'm trying to say, any web page what we see will be developed using HTML. Okay. And also, only HTML is not sufficient to see the page in a proper manner, right? For example, I'm clicking on this one. I'm seeing all this. I'm seeing a table, right? All this information, the proper alignment, right? This is coming in bold, right? Maybe these things are small letters. This is the icon. So right side we have this, right? So only HTML if you write, um, maybe we cannot see the web page in a proper alignment and proper styles and all those things. Okay, along with the HTML to decide, right? In HTML we maybe decide heading tag, but where it should display, top left, right? Top right, these buttons should be displayed. This heading should be in blue color. This should be a hyperlink, maybe, right? This should be a checkbox. So those things we decide using CSS. Okay. So to provide the styles, the alignment, maybe the colors, the size of the font, to deal with many of the things. Along with the HTML, we need to know the styles. So those styles we define using CSS. CSS means cascading style sheet. Okay. Again, to know the basics, right? What is the full form of CSS and some of the basics. Okay, again, go to this website, click on CSS, click on CSS introduction, right? So we use to style a web page, right? Cascading style sheets. Just to go through this, right? So understand, right? This color and those kind of things. Saying, right? Style three. So I mean, it looks like this background color. What should be the background color of a page, right? So H1 means heading. What should be the color and how it should align? What should be the font? What is the size of the font? So those kind of styles. Okay. Anyway, we'll discuss when we start working. Okay. But if you want to know little bit basics, just click on this CSS introduction and I mean, no need to buy hat everything. No need to go through everything. If you have time, maybe you can go through, but just introduction, just go through this. Okay. So that you will know the basics. Okay. So to develop the web page, so we use HTML, we use CSS along with the HTML and the CSS, right? To interact with the page in a dynamic way, more in a better way. For example, so when you click on somewhere, Let's say you want to, if you see the loading icon, it is displaying, right? Maybe if you uh, the interactions, right? When I click here, how it is going to this page, right? So maybe if I click on save, it's displaying some errors, right? So some validation, if you don't input something, display error, right? So some of the things, if you want to handle, okay, so in a web page we use JavaScript. Okay, so we say JavaScript is a client side language. Means client means the browser, because so when you develop a web page, right, even we can develop a web page and save that page in our local system, maybe in your documents or desktop. You can save that HTML, CSS. Even without internet, you can open that page, right? So still, when you have a form, when you are clicking on save, we can execute some script, which is nothing but JavaScript we use, and do some validations and the calculations and some of the things within the browser, right? Browser can run the JavaScript and give the results. To run the JavaScript, right, to execute the JavaScript, no need to have any internet. Okay, so any browser, Chrome or Firefox or Microsoft Edge, all those browsers understand JavaScript. All those browsers can run the JavaScript without having any internet. Okay, so that's why we say it is a client-side language. Okay, so while dealing with the web page, we also need to know about the JavaScript. Anyway, JavaScript I'll explain from the basics. Okay, still, if you want to just a little bit understand, so go to JavaScript introduction. Again, just go through this, right? So what is JavaScript and some basic things. Okay, using JavaScript, right? Dynamically, JavaScript can change the HTML and the CSS. By default, when the page loads, maybe default the color and everything will be there. When you click on a button using JavaScript, we can change the styles. We can also alter the web page, the UI, all those things, right? So JavaScript can interact with the HTML and CSS what we have on the web page. Okay, so just go through this introduction and understand. Okay, anyway, we'll discuss from the basics. Okay, so now what I'm trying to say, when we deal with any web page, most of the websites, if you open and see, so how those pages we see internally, they develop the page using HTML and CSS, and some places they use JavaScript and do some of the things like maybe changing the color, or maybe right altering the UI, and some basic calculations can be done using the JavaScript. Okay, but it's not like only with this we can do everything, right? So example, if I open this page, right, so how I am seeing in this table, so recently used, these things from where we are getting, all these are in the Salesforce account, right? So I mean, Salesforce account is nothing but, so we cannot log into this account without internet, right? So we should have internet. So we can only open the web page, enter username and password and log in. So when we click on login, it will validate that username and password, right? Example, logout, right? So this is the home page. Here, username, password. When I enter something wrong, right? Something wrong, you see it's throwing error. So when I click on login, maybe that point of time, JavaScript is not sufficient, right? So this username and password, where it should verify? It should verify in the Salesforce database, right? So not within the browser, it cannot check, right? When we click on login, this username and password should be sent to Salesforce, right? One of the server to one of the server in Salesforce. There they verify this username and password is present in the Salesforce database or not. If these are matching, then only they will allow to log in so that we can land into the home page, right? So beyond this HTML, CSS, JavaScript, to deal with some data, right, to validate from the server. Server means not in our laptop, right? So browser runs within our laptop, within our system. For that, no need to have an internet, right? But the thing is, when we want to deal with some data, example this username and password, it has to go to one of the Salesforce server, right? Already as part of the admin, we discussed what is server and all those things. Okay, so if you don't know, again, refer those demo videos. Okay, so it should send this information to server. Server means um, a supercomputer, not like our basic laptop, right? So our laptop, we have only basic configuration. Let's say 500 GB memory, 8 GB RAM or something. But server will have a huge memory and also processor and the software they maintain in the server, right? So all those are like powerful hardware they use. Okay, so I mean it will reach that server and validate, and we get the results and again see within the browser in one of the web pages. Okay, so for that, in the background, to execute some logic in the server. Okay, so we need to develop some logic which will interact with the Salesforce database, right? Example, verifying some data or maybe query the data and display on the page. Or if you want to make some changes, right, it will save those changes into the database. So all those things to do between the database, right? Database is nothing but the data, multiple tables of data in an organized way they maintain, right? So between the database and the UI, okay, the interaction can be done using business logic, right? We say business logic, the generic term. Okay, business logic means one of the server side language. For example, Java, .NET, right? I mean, maybe Java can run in our laptop also, right? But mostly they host the Java in one of the server and they'll execute there, right? So the business logic, um, the generic outside programming languages, Java, .NET, Python, those are the some of the languages. Specific to Salesforce, we use one of the programming language called Apex. Okay, Apex is one of the server side programming language which we use within the Salesforce. Okay, just understand. It is similar to core Java. Okay, maybe not exactly 100% same. Most of the syntax you see it is matching with Java. Okay, but when compared to Java, it is a little bit simplified. You can understand easily. Okay, we'll discuss how it works. Okay, so the thing is, as part of the Salesforce development, we need to learn about Apex programming language, right? Server side programming. Okay, JavaScript, it's a client side, right? Scripting language. It's a scripting language, and nowadays the point is JavaScript also can run in the server using some softwares like Node.js. Okay, there is one concept called Node.js. Using Node.js nowadays, JavaScript also can run in the server. Okay, that we don't need to know about Node.js. In Salesforce, only JavaScript is sufficient for us. Okay, and Apex is the business logic server side language we need to know. And also from Apex, right? Sometimes we need to read the data present in a database table, or when you fill the form and save, the information should be saved into database table. Sometimes we want to update the data present in a table, or we want to delete the data. For all those things, we use some database commands to interact with the database from Apex language. So we use um, some of the database commands within Apex language. Okay, so for that, right, to interact, how we interact in Salesforce, we have SOQL. SOQL means Salesforce Object Query Language. Okay, in Salesforce, we call database table as object. Okay, so we need to know SOQL, Salesforce Object Query Language, and also we have SOSL, Salesforce Object Stitch Language. This we use to query and also to alter the data. Example, to create, edit, delete, right? Those kind of things. So we use a DML, data manipulation language. And so as part of the Salesforce development, we should know how we write the SQL query, SOSL query, DML statement, all those things. Okay, as part of this training, we are going to understand about all this. Okay, at high level, these are the things we are going to understand. Okay, and also it's not like every time um, we need the UI, right? We need the web page. Only with the web page we interact with the database and do something. It's not like that. Sometimes without interacting with the web page, in the background, some logic should execute and something should happen automatically, right? For example, so when we create a record, update a record, right? Or maybe weekly once, Saturday morning, some logic should execute and it should update some data in the database. Those backend operations also we deal. So for that we don't do anything from the UI. We don't click anywhere. Those things runs within the background. Okay, for that, so we have some concepts within the Apex at how we write the logic and schedule it to run in a particular time or trigger the logic whenever we create the record or update the record, right? For all those things also we have some of the concepts. As part of the Apex, we'll be knowing about all those concepts. Okay, now this time in this development, every time I use it to explain those backend things first, so later the UI development. But this time, just I want to explain about this UI development and from there how we interact with the Apex and all those things. And later we discuss about those backend things from Apex, how we deal. Okay, so just understand those things. And apart from this, okay, so we also need to know about the integration, right? Integration means when you take one of the client. Okay, so here as part of the admin, right, we are working for a client called Apple. Apple company. Apple is the client, right? We took examples for the Apple company and developed some of the uh, configuration to achieve the requirements. So if you assume that Apple is the client, right? So Apple, they are using Salesforce, right, for CRM. The Apple company, right? So they might have, let's say, ERP. They are using SAP, right? So for a different business module, right? SAP is famous for ERP solutions. Let's say Apple company, they are using SAP. Maybe for some other business module, they might be using something else. Let's say for the invoicing and for some of the bill payments or something. So let's say they are using QuickBooks. Okay, I'm just taking some example. Okay, QuickBooks is some, it's a platform where companies, right, they raise some invoices, right? So like Salesforce, they can also register and so what they have is company they can raise invoice and right, they can track all those kind of things. Okay, maybe for that, right, this is mainly for accounting, right? So for accounting they are using this QuickBooks. So the point is, same client, they have Salesforce, they also have SAP, they also have QuickBooks and many other different platform applications. So what they need, sometimes they want to establish the communication between the Salesforce and let's say QuickBooks, right? In Salesforce, let's say there is a opportunity, right? Opportunity means it's a deal. Once the opportunity is closed successfully, client, right, they need to pay the money, right? Let's say that invoicing and all those they are maintaining here, they want to interact, I mean, they want to see from Salesforce, and they open the opportunity, they want to see the invoices which are created in a QuickBooks application. So for that, maybe we need integration, right? When we open a Salesforce, right? When we open Salesforce, let's say opportunity, if I open one of the opportunity, so here in one of the page, I want to see, so what are the invoices created, right? We integrate. So how that integration can be established. So that also we need to understand. Okay, my point is we discuss about integration, one of the key topic. Okay, so these are the high level topics which we discuss, and apart from that, We also work on the deployment, how we deploy. Already, if you attended admin, we don't directly work in the production. We work in the sandbox, dev sandbox. After that, we deploy to QA. After that, UAT, finally UAT to production. How we deploy from one sandbox to other sandbox to production. And also as a developer, when we develop the code, so let's say all of us we are working for same project. I'm a developer, I am doing some development. You are also a developer, you are doing the development. How to avoid conflicting your code and my code and other colleagues code, right? So that there is a concept called version controlling. So how we manage that, right? uh, and also how we deploy in a proper way. So while deploying, how to avoid overwriting the other developers code with our code. Not only other developer, so in the big projects, right? So let's say all of us we are in one team, there might be other team, right? Maybe the same Apple company, they work with many different companies. Let's say we are working in Infosys, they might be also working with TCS company, right? There is a development team for TCS, and we are development team from Infosys, right? When we deploy, the TCS team they should not overwrite our logic, right? How we control, so that those kind of things will be there. Okay, all those things, we'll try to work on those things, and I'll explain how we work really to avoid those conflicts and deploy safely into production. Okay, so what are the precautions we need to take to avoid overwriting the other people code? And also nowadays, uh, so you hear about DevOps. Okay, so mainly this deployment, maybe automating this deployment, right? So DevOps means mostly it deals with the development deployment. So there are some, you might hear about CI/CD tools, means continuous integration and continuous deployment. And what are the tools used? Maybe project to project they use different tools. Okay, maybe I'll explain few famous tools. Maybe not in depth. Okay, I'll give overview how we work with that. Okay, it's not like um, in all projects they are using this, right? And also some clients they don't follow this process, right? But nowadays, maybe 50% projects they are using this. Okay, for that sake, we also need to know these things. Okay, as part of the development, we'll be discussing so all those basics and all those things. Okay, now at the end of this training, we should be able to work on any project, most of the projects. We should know the process, how we develop and how we do. So all those things we'll discuss. Okay. Uh, yeah, that's the agenda. So as part of this training, we'll be discussing these things. Okay, these are high level. I'm just explaining. These are the things. Okay, so now coming back to this UI, right? So maybe for business logic, you can lock and you can fix that. This is the programming language we use. Okay, so full-fledged will understand how we develop the apex and all those things, and the commands. These are the things. Okay, but the UI, right? So it's not like directly we write HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, not core HTML and CSS and JavaScript. we don't develop separately, and we don't make connections. Okay, that is a lengthy process. Okay, in Salesforce, so for the web page development, so they have different types of frameworks. Okay, frameworks in the sense the way how we develop um, the user interface component. Whatever we see on the UI, those pages, the way how we can develop. Okay, so one of the, um, I mean, technically we say a framework, right? So the latest framework to develop the UI is LWC. Okay, the full form is Lightning Web Components. Okay, this is latest. It was introduced in 2019. Okay, so now in most of the projects, um, 90% you see by default we create the LWC components. Okay, so mostly 90% in this training will focus about the LWC, but rarely in some of the projects, right? Still, because before to LWC, from 2015, there was a framework called ARA. They use it to call as Lightning components. Right, nowadays, they are calling as ARA components, ARA framework. Okay, it was there from 2015. Even now also it is there, but by default, the latest is LWC. We need to work with that. Okay, so maybe you might need to know little bit about ARA. Okay, and also before ARA, I think from the year 2005, if I'm not wrong. So we have Visual Force. Okay, before Visual Force, there was S controls. Now that is completely gone. I'm not at all even listing. Okay, but many years, Visual Force, one of the markup languages to develop the web page, it was there, right, until 2015, right? Many years this was the one. Okay. Um, little bit we also need to know how we develop the Visual Force page, because when you join, if you say you have 5 years, 6 years experience, um, so we it's expected that we need to know Visual Force and also R. Okay, so these things I'll just explain the basics. So maybe what I'm planning. So for previous batches, I explained many concepts about Visual Force and ARA. Anyway, now very limited components we are creating. So from my previous batches, I'll capture those Visual Force and ARA and upload in YouTube, and I'll provide those links to you. Okay. So in case if you want to know more, or if your project requires more about ARA or Visual Force, you can look into that YouTube. I'll make it public and I will share those links. Based on the need, you can watch. Okay, but unnecessarily, right? Nowadays, no use of um, learning many examples of ARA and Visual Force. Okay, that is the plan. In case if you want in depth, I'll upload and provide those links. So whenever you need, you can look into those. But our focus is this LWC most of the times. All concepts we discuss about the LWC. Okay, so that's the plan. Okay, now, so the LWC is nothing but a framework where when we create one LWC component, automatically it includes HTML, CSS, JavaScript, right? All those files, right? Mostly by default HTML and JavaScript. CSS, based on the need, we can create that file. So it is like it creates one folder automatically when we create one LWC component. In that, by default, it keep HTML and JavaScript and some required other files, and the CSS, based on the need, you can create that file within that folder. Okay, so LWC is nothing but this kind of folder where by default HTML, JavaScript, CSS, all those files we can maintain based on the need. Okay, so just understand high level about that, right? It's a combination of HTML file, by default JavaScript file. Yeah, we have some meta file, means configuration. So it holds the configuration, meaning the component whatever we create. So where you want to add that component? Do you want to add it on the home page or record page, or we have some communities? So where you want to add it? So that we decide in the one of the meta file. Okay, but so all these are required, right? Meaning automatically when you create any LWC component, for sure you see it creates these three files. The other files, there are other files like CSS, right? Based on the need, we can create. Okay, it's optional if you want to create it. Otherwise, without that also we can create the LWC component. Okay, and also um, we have one more thing called SVC. For now, we don't need to bother about that. Okay, slowly we'll see in future. Okay, so high level. So the thing is, we'll be starting with LWC and understanding about all these things. But before we uh, create these and understand, we should know. So mostly HTML and CSS. Most of the times we copy the code snippets from a website and paste it and use it. But JavaScript, we should know how to write and based on the need, how to deal, right? So we need to know how we develop the JavaScript. HTML and CSS, most of the times we need to refer the documentation, copy, paste. It's not like we type each and every line. Okay, so the thing is, most important thing. So while working with this LWC, we have the documentation. Okay, Salesforce official documentation. So if you search for Lightning component library, okay, I mean it's not like each and every line we type. Okay, most of the times as a developer, we need to know how we can inspire from this documentation and develop the components. You need to know the process. Yeah, the first website you need to bookmark for your development is this Lightning component library. By default, you need to bookmark this, right? So just I'm saying bookmark. First website is this. You need to bookmark. So here in this website, the specialty, if you see Lightning web components, okay, so if you see, so we have mainly this under Lightning. So whatever the component you want to develop, we have some ready-made examples available. All we need to do, we need to refer this and make use of this. Okay, for example, I want to develop a form, right? Or in the form I want some input box and all those things. So we have input, click on input, right? So do you want this kind of input, or if you see here, so you want a text input, or maybe you want date input, something like calendar you can choose, or you want something like file upload, right? Here you can click on upload and file, right? So all these examples from here we can choose, right? So URL input, I mean this is how it looks. And the code, if you see here, the HTML file, here they use a different framework. In general, normal HTML web page, it starts with HTML, but here, as part of the component, the HTML will be in template. Okay, because this is like one part in a web page. Yeah, I'll explain how exactly it will be added. Okay, just you need to understand. In LWC, it starts with template and with template in between HTML code. Okay, I mean if you see this, I want this like this. Enter a URL here and like this I want. Okay, I think so. For that, advanced input URL about here, URL input placeholder. So just search with this, right? I think this one, right? If you use this, it will be looking like this. Okay, like that we need to see. This one we copy and paste, and exactly like this we see, and make changes on top of that. So like that we work, okay, for HTML or CSS. Okay, in that process we little bit we need to know, right? So what we call this one, this is a tag, that we have attributes, type is one attribute, label is one attribute. So those things slowly we'll understand. Okay, so in the process of learning JavaScript, we also need to interact with this from JavaScript. Okay, that time the terminology I'll explain. Okay, but mostly this UI, even the CSS, we mostly need to copy from here. Okay, this website is very easy, right? This ready-made components will be there, right? Let's say I want a button, right? In Salesforce, in standard pages, right? All these are standard pages, right? So how these buttons are looking, right? This button, how it is looking, or when we click on edit, right? Here button is looking blue color. Which color, which type of button you want, right? Those things, right? So all we go here, click on button. Okay, so in the example, if you see which one you want this one. Okay, so for that, so brand, this is the one, right? We copy paste that, right? Or if you want this, we copy that. So we have the examples, right? If you want button with icon, yeah, like this, right? So like this we can use. So just understand, these are like some ready-made components where we explore, copy paste, and make use of it in our development. Okay, so but sometimes you don't find few things here. Yeah, for example, let's say if you see, when I click on edit, right, you see this, whatever you are seeing, we call this one as a model pop-up. Okay, so in the background you see the original page, on top of that you see like this, you see the background is little bit shaded, right? Only this one it is highlighting. If we close it, it close. So I want this model as part of my development while developing a custom page. This you don't find maybe in this lightning ready-made. There's nothing something like that, the model pop-up. So that time, so we have a website, lightning component library. Okay, this is the website. Okay, so from this website, uh, if you see here, this you don't see the ready-made components. Oh, sorry, I think again we landed here. So not this. So you need to go to lightning design system. Okay, lightning design system. And this is the website. Okay, so here you'll see more beyond the standard components. If we have few requirements, so we come here. So we under component blueprints see a few more things. Example, we want the model pop-up. So if you see, click on models, right? If you see like this, so do you want small one or big one or large or full? So which one you want, right? And also headless, tagless, something, right? So all those you can choose. Let's say I want to go with this. If you see here, right? So this is the code. This is the HTML. It's not a ready-made component. This is some HTML snippet, copy paste. So if you are utilizing this, it's more work for us. Okay, so few things we need to work little bit more on how when we click on this button, when we click here, how to call JavaScript and close this. We need to write more logic on making this work. Okay, but if you are using some things, even the JS also, by default, few things you can see as part of this example, copy paste and use it. This one is more work, but few situations we need to make use of this one and we need to work. Okay. So practically, even if you have 15 years experience also, no one can type this. I mean, no one type like this line by line. Okay, so just we copy paste and make it work as per the requirement. Okay, those tricks, so how we need to think and how we need to think and call JavaScript, all those things as part of this training, we'll discuss those. Okay, so the thing is, you also need to bookmark this. This is like a second, first here, nothing we are finding. So to inspire the styles, mainly this is to inspire the styles to match with the Salesforce standard screens, right? How we develop, that time we refer this. Maybe in some of the projects, they don't want to go with the Salesforce Lightning style. I mean these styles. They want to go with some external styles to match with some branding and all those kind of things. So that time, okay. So maybe if you are some of you, if you know about the web page development, right, little bit. So some just Bootstrap is one of the famous website for some of the styles, right? So maybe in some projects they want to go with these styles, right? Here maybe examples. So how you want. So do you want a button or drop down badges or whatever? Let's say here I want buttons, right? See buttons, which type you want, right? So these also we can inspire from here, right? So there, I mean, very less chance of working like this. So that time, I mean, we can take some time. Even sometimes it's not like as a core Salesforce developer, we need to know these things. Okay, so if there is a too much external CSS needed, they recruit some UI specialist, different resources. Okay, but little bit small things. Anyway, if you know how we refer our lightning design system styles, same process we need to follow for those. Okay, so little bit I'll also touch those things, how we can work with that. Okay, so just understand. So as part of the development, so now we are going to know about this. I mean, that's why I'm not touching this HTML CSS. Okay, so when we start working, we'll copy from those websites. Okay, so now before we work on this UI and all those things, since we need to know the syntax and the basics of the programming, so our main, the first 1 week or 10 days, so what we need to focus, we need to focus on how we write the JavaScript, right? So how to write a statement, what is the syntax, right? So how exactly that will be executing. And also parallelly, it's not like only UI if you develop, um, it works. Obviously, it should interact with the database, but it cannot interact directly with the database, right? So it can connect to database through Apex. So we should know the Apex programming language also. So now what I'm going to do, our next step to continue with our development. So we should be very clear on how we write the JavaScript and how we write the Apex. Okay, and also I think that this time, so I want to explain both side by side, like comparing. Okay, there is a difference in the syntax, the way how we write. So example, right? We have many languages, right? So maybe English, how we speak, maybe Hindi or other languages, right? Language to language, there is a difference. Let's say if you take Urdu, they write from right side to left side, right? But ultimately, they also have letters and they also write sentences and all those things. But there is a difference on how they write and how we need to understand and all those things. Okay, so what we'll do, I'll explain. So the basics of JavaScript, I'll try to compare, right? So any language you take, common things. First, we need to know the letters, right? Once you know the letters, next you need to know the words. Next, you need to combine those words into sentences with a proper grammar. Our next step, we combine all those sentences and write the paragraph. Once you know how to write the paragraph, you keep on writing pages of whatever you want to write. Here also same thing. So all those basics for JavaScript and Apex we'll understand. Okay, so we'll start this from our next class. Okay, so I'll start from um, the JavaScript, the Apex, and what are the basics we need to know for JavaScript and Apex. We compare and understand both how those will work, all those things. Okay, mostly the point is Any lightweight logic, so we write in the JavaScript. Anything too much complex, we write in Apex, because Apex is server side. Server means huge hardware, right? So it has more power. JavaScript, it runs within the browser, right? Browser is in our laptop. What is our laptop configuration, or what our system, whatever we use? We have limited hardware, right? Let's say you have 16 GB RAM, 1 terabyte memory. We have some limitations, but server will have thousands of terabytes, maybe RAM or processor, right? More, it's like a super computer. It has more capability to run the complex logic and give the results quickly. Okay, so we'll discuss. So what we write in JavaScript, so what we write in the Apex, and understand the basics. We'll try to compare and understand. So obviously the first primary difference between the JavaScript and Apex. JavaScript is case sensitive. Means whatever we write, if you write small letter, capital letter, there is a difference. It treats that as a different, right? But in Apex, it won't bother about the cases, right? Example, I'll give one example. This is case insensitive. Meaning, case sensitive means, um, if I write JavaScript, or if I write like this, it treats both as different, even though both spelling is same, but it is having capital J, it is having small j. It treats that as different, right? But when we deal with the Apex, right, let's say if I write Apex, both it treats as same. Okay, most of the places it will be same. In Apex also there is some places it will check for some capital and small letters. So we'll discuss. I mean, the basic first point what we are understanding between JavaScript and Apex. JavaScript is case sensitive and Apex is case insensitive. So tomorrow, anyway, I'll keep some points differently. So I'll write all points related to JavaScript here and Apex here, and understand how it works. Okay, so for today, before ending, okay, so any questions so far, anyone, based on whatever we discussed? Any questions? You can ask any questions.
Related to the concepts Srinivas, but um,
I
I
think
wanted.
can can you speak loudly? I think Krishna.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay, so I don't have questions related to the concepts, but I have questions like I wanted to join for both admin and development.
yeah, yeah. Understood. Admin, you don't know anything about Salesforce?
No, this is like my first time.
Yeah, understood. But what is your background? Like you are in IT or you are coming
I'm in
from?
I'm in IT. I am in the development side. I work on IBM Integration Bus (IIB). It's a middleware tool.
Mhm. Okay.
It's mainly used for integration between uh, different systems, like integration between Salesforce and mainframe and things like that.
Mhm. Yeah,
But yeah, I don't have any knowledge on Salesforce at all.
yeah, understood. Unfortunately, I'm running limited batches. Okay.
Okay.
If you want to start from admin, After completing this development, again I'll start admin. For that, it will take maybe 2 or 3 months almost. Okay, so yeah, if you don't want to waste the time, anyway, we have this development demo next 2 more days, right? So uh, I think while registering, I think you have my, my website. So here there are some admin demo videos. Okay,
Okay.
so just watch those. Day one, I think a few places I have. I think up to 6 classes. If you see here, if you follow this, around 6 classes videos are there. Okay. Next 3 days, if you have time, just also watch those and also continue with this development. If you are able to catch up with this, maybe you continue, and after this admin, again you can join for admin full course. Okay. In case, I mean, maybe if you are not able to maybe understand, right? The only the thing what you need to know, um, you need to know in Salesforce we call database table as object, right? So we say custom object, standard object. Okay, so custom object means the custom database table what we created, which is not provided by Salesforce. Some basics are there. Okay, we say fields, we say records, the terminology. I think, and also database, the relationships between the objects, right? So child object, parent object, both are related with lookup relationship. Some concepts are there. If you know, you can easily catch up. So otherwise, you might be having confusion. Okay, I mean, maybe it's up to you. Try watching those 6 and continue for next 2 classes. If you are able to understand, just continue. Otherwise, maybe you need to wait for admin. I
So
mean, if
this
you want
is
to, yeah,
this is going to be only dev, right?
yeah, only Dev, because for this batch already admin is completed.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, some people, right, they join from development. Maybe previously they know admin like that.
Sir, why
So
can't you start a new batch for admin? Even I'm looking for admin. It's little difficult for me for understand this development.
Yeah, yeah, I understood. Because of my time, what I can spend, right? So,
Yeah.
because, yeah, if I start, it will be, I think I cannot manage. So that's the problem. I mean, I have other work and everything, right? So,
So if we want admin, we need to wait 3 more months, sir.
yeah, I mean, if you don't want to wait, yeah, maybe you continue here and that time complete the admin. Um, Otherwise, worst case, just watch those demos. Maybe if you are okay and understanding, one thing what I can do, I will share those admin recordings to you. You parallelly watch that and continue this, and next batch you can start with the live class. That is one option. Okay, unfortunately, the live class, yeah, I cannot start until we complete this. Okay.
Okay, sir. I'll try to uh, understand like 2 or 3 more classes of
Yeah,
this.
yeah. See, based on that. Okay. Yeah, and also, I mean, it's like, yeah, based on our need, right, by your learning. Yeah, in case
Mhm.
if it is not matching, just you try for other options also. It's not like you need to join with me only. Okay, I mean, because ultimately our time, right? So your
Yeah.
target of applying job is also important. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So
So sir, like with these 6 videos, like can we cope up with the development? Like I'm from CS background only, so I
Yeah,
can go with the development and come for admin after 3 months, 2 or 3 months.
yeah, you can do that. But what I recommend, right? So at least watch this six, and
Yeah,
also, I
yeah.
mean, if you decided to join, right? So what I can do, I'll share those admin recordings
Mm-hmm.
and parallelly watch that and continue. The next
Yeah,
batch
again
will
at the
join
time of
your
the
class.
admin, we can join those.
Yeah, yeah. If you don't want to waste your time,
Yeah, again,
maybe.
sir, because 3 months we can't wait again, sir. That's why.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, 3 months. I know that it's like huge time, right?
Yeah,
Um, I mean, if you are understanding whatever I am explaining, and if you want to continue, that is one option.
yeah, yeah. Okay, sir. Right.
Yeah, yeah. So
Um,
yeah, yeah.
Hi Shrinu. So I have a few questions like what are the basic concepts that we need to learn in admin? Like I've completed trial mix 1 and 2. So is it enough like to cope up with development to start this?
Yeah. I mean, just my question, right? Do
Yeah.
you know about the relationships in Salesforce?
Yes, like
Lookup
I was
detail.
I was just completing that
Mhm.
and I think I can do this like
Yeah.
development course.
So the basics, what you need, right? At
Mm-hmm.
least you need to know what is the standard object, custom object,
Okay.
the relationships between the
Fields and relationships and those
fields,
things.
some basic terminology, right?
Basic
We call
things. Okay.
columns as fields and records means rows.
Records. Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
parent object, child object, lookup,
Okay. Okay.
master detail
Lookup
relationship.
relationship, master details. Okay. Okay. Yeah.
We have something like record types,
Okay.
record
Okay.
view,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
Yeah, I mean in Trailhead also, if you see right, if you explore admin beginner, okay,
Yeah.
that is sufficient.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So for others, whoever is joining, so we have something like Trailhead. Okay, so once you create the free account, so you can log into this Trailhead. Okay, here you can take some trainings for free. I mean, no need to pay anything. It's like a game, and also you can keep this in our resume nowadays, right? So they're asking for the Trailhead profile also. Okay, here we have different trails and modules, right? So it's the basic thing to start with, I think, admin beginner. Okay, so I think if you complete this, okay, so you know, if you complete this, you know what is like Salesforce, just basic data modeling means here you see some relationships quickly. Okay, these basics, if you complete, I think you'll get some idea. Okay, and also, so when you do this, you get some points. So for that, you see some profile. So this page we call as Trailblazer. Um, thing is, you nowadays you need to keep this in our resume. So they'll be checking these badges, right? So many badges you have points, and also in Salesforce there are many certifications. Okay, the more than 40 certifications are there. To start with, maybe Salesforce admin and platform developer one, right? Maybe if you want to continue development, so platform developer one is the certification, especially for LWC. Okay, so we have a certification JavaScript developer one. Okay, so advanced developer means this one. Next level architect means there are many architect certifications. I mean, yeah, those things are there. Anyway, I mean, we cannot do everything. Okay, so since you are starting, you start with admin, or even if you want to first, if you want to do platform developer one, that is also fine. Slowly, you also do other certifications year by year. Okay, and also there are like you can ask some basic questions in the community. You can follow your friends, and those options are there. Okay, anyway, all these things already we discussed as part of the admin. So just I'm explaining. Okay, you can also get some basics here and continue development, and later understand more about admin. That will also work. Okay, any other questions?
Srini, can I call you on WhatsApp after the class just for 2 minutes?
Yeah, yeah, you can call. Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, any other questions? Yeah, 1 second. Yeah, any other question? Okay, yeah, we'll continue tomorrow. Okay, and
Thank you.
also I will share this recording maybe to the meeting invitation. I will attach one Excel file, and I'll keep this recording. Okay, we'll continue tomorrow. Thank you.